Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. This is Archangel Alts, and we're going to do our Crypto Market Watch Instant Insights. So, what's up, Bitcoin? What you doing? So we've got $195 million in volume, 24 hours. And that's pretty impressive after, I believe, 248 was the highest that it's reached. We've had weeks of 60, 70, 80 million dollars tops, sometimes 96, then it drops back down. But, never anything close to where it's been right now. So we're holding our second day. Basically, I'm looking at as our hopes are to see Bitcoin be able to maintain over 3,800 for a steady period of time. So right now, 2 days holding is a good sign. 3 days holding is where we can start to develop an average. And then a week means that, nobody pumped it just for the sake of collaboration between running through stable coins and then shorting either through fiat or stable coins, futures contracts, or, you can do it fairly easily if you run things through the proper channels. DLT is getting quite a push. Let's see what that looks like. In the short term, pretty cool. 15, 30, 1 hour. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look as massive as it would first appear. Of course, it's kind of interesting because we had it happen over here just less than a month ago. It's done some serious spiking over here just in the middle of the first month of the year. So $29.99, looking pretty nice. So yeah, that's really good. Really good. So want to take this from the 24-hour change. DLT obviously at the top of the list right now. IOST has really been getting a lot of surges. That's interesting. Speaking of searches, if I have any problems with our video here, I'll do it in a part 2 because we have serious thunderstorms going on, so it wouldn't completely surprise me if there's an issue there. Yo. Having a really good day. Very cool. XLM. Nice. AGI is towards the top. AST. BTT is... the fact that these are, I'm going to go to the main list. I was just looking at it from my favorites. ONG. Oh, not good. Actually, it's fine. So, one of the things that I like about what I've been seeing with ONG, I haven't spent any time trading it today. I'm going to be working on possibly getting in on some positions. So, it's actually a... we look at the number of decimals that something uses. So in the 4 positions over is 20,000, and it's represented that way over here. So, it's not one of our coins that's, just worth a penny or a fraction of a penny, which really, the value of a single coin isn't so much what we're concerned about with trading as it is the liquidity of how well it trades. Waves is starting to come into a position again. That's pretty cool, but I don't want to jump around. So ONT, if you look here at the 1 minute, so that's 20,000 on the nose, we would need to see it do 200. So it would need to come up, just visualizing it needs to come up about this month to be 1%, which has in the past like 10 hours was kind of amazing how much it was doing. But let's see, like 22.7 to 22.9. Well, you can see that it's doing much more than that over an hour's time. So we look at this right here. Probably could get in the little wick down there. 19,808 to 20 is only there. Very small range that it has to do. And if you get concerned about it dropping, you can, take a quick 0.5 and then -2 for fees. You still have 1/3% fairly quickly and safely. So look at, since we've been talking, look at what it has done here. So 100 to 200 is what we would need to see. So more than what it's doing there, but I mean, it doesn't take long. So see, there we go. And if we started over here, it would be really about like a 4-minute position just to be on the safe side. So I find that interesting. I actually want to test that. Obviously, part of what's tricky about this is that if it's not going to continue to spike, then you need to wait for it to come down. And by then, has the volume slowed down? Right now, 3,000 24-hour volume in Bitcoin is pretty impressive. In fact, let's see, 3,000 times 30. We're just going to say 3,900. So, I mean, that's $11 million in volume. That's pretty amazing, huh? $11 million in the past day. That ONG, which is gas for ontology coin, and you get a drop on that if you own any ONT. I was wondering why I had some, and then I asked a friend to verify. So I have like, I think 3 cents in ONG without having traded yet. So looking over here to IOST, we had been holding position at 197, waiting for it to do 199, and it was struggling and struggling, and then it just ran right past and started sinking with Bitcoin. So that's really cool. Really like this when it has this much liquidity. I'm always looking for, from the trading standpoint, how much Bitcoin it's got to eat through in a position in order to be able to move. And if Bitcoin is moving quickly, then it kind of helps nudge that along, because liquidity comes on both sides. Is very strange and very different from your normal situation with trading stocks and even Forex in a lot of ways. There's usually so much stability on the other side that you just kind of lock that to a brick wall, and then everything is traded against that. You don't really think of there being any, kind of a slinky back and forth movement. But Bitcoin's liquidity absolutely affects any trading against it. Really for or against it. So, and I don't mean trading against it as just shorting. I mean as in the pairs. Each pairing against a coin is called a market. So you look at this, you see the markets. You see a whole list of all these guys. IOST 1600 24-hour volume. So BNB coin is still rising up, and the more it gets used, the better the press is out there on it. It's been doing well. Looks like SIS has already kind of had its spiking. I wouldn't expect a lot from it right now. Yo-Yo, it only needs to move 2 to 4 for you to get some good profit out of it. This is usually an indication of weakening, so I would keep an eye on that. Of course, this is in the very short term. That's what I'm looking at right now. Almost identical if you look at these two guys. It's kind of a top of a heart shape or pair of lips. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay. XLM. I'll need to get about 20 out of it to get a good position. 88.9808 is where we'd want that. It's a little bit slow and steady, even though the volume is pretty high. Not extremely heavy trading, and people are expecting it to clear just around 2,300. We can look to see how much higher. 2306, 2321. And then I don't know if this is an actual expectation or if people are trying to weight the books in a more or less, little bit spammy on a manipulation there, but not too terribly bad. OAX that's my official stance, is E. So wow, look at that. That's quite a break there. So we'll talk about this in depth when I start covering charts. I'm not going to go into that right now. But when you see these things narrow out more and more and more, there's very often a breakout. So this couldn't be any more exacting of an example. So it looks like it did several percent there. That's pretty cool. AST, I don't know if that's a normal thing for it. I haven't traditionally traded it very heavy, and it looks like there's long periods of time where there's not a whole lot of room. We can see, I mean, that's, that's good for 24-hour change, but it looks like a lot of it is from spikes. So just be careful. And, I'm not going over full analysis on everything because I just want to kind of cover things in a little bit of a broad strokes. IOTX. Can't remember if we got into that or not. I don't think that we ended up trading on that, but I did try a couple of times. Yes, it was at 186, 187, and it was moving very quickly. Just happened to hit it at the right time, like 2 different times. So I may add that to the list of things that we try to get in on some positions. I'm hoping that like the second or third day after this, that we're going to start to see a wider spread of higher volume in some coins so that we can, make haste on some better positions. That will be cool. Be a good thing. Okay, so that's a little bit of a narrow run. EOS is a fairly big deal, and I think, isn't it in the network with Ontology and Neo and Gas and all that stuff? I could be wrong. I'm going to need to brush up on this one, but looks like you need to make about 80 points. So in this, well, no, 91,000. So over here, if you're looking in the blue box with the white numbers, you're looking at 900. So in this case, just as an example, if it was 91.1, you'd want to see 91.9, and it's not quite doing that in short order. But that's the reason that I am not usually trading this unless there's an extreme amount of liquidity. Right now, 6,900 should be more than enough to do wider positions than this. So this is like 90,000. We would want to see 90,900. And somebody knows their range really well because it's like exactly what it looks like it's oscillating. So that's a little bit of manipulation, possibly from another exchange that is affecting the price market-wide. I mean, if this is the kind of movement that you are used to, coins that are $2 to $4 to $5 tend to require a different kind of movement, a different kind of liquidity. I'm not really that huge a fan. Sometimes it's the right time to do those. So once I start working with those, I start getting a different place in my brain, a different place in the room of how I approach them. Quite a drop there with MDA, so if this is your coin, then just be careful. BRD. Oh, we had one of these fun spikes down here, and this is, once again, a perfect example of when I talk about a mirror ring position. I'm sure there's other names for that as well, but you can see if 5,600 is kind of an average around there, a spike upwards, a spike downwards, they kind of balance each other out. It's just interesting patterns that you notice that happen fairly often. So this bounced at its low point. Wobby! So it's got to do about 30. It's doing that with no problem right now. So if you know how to track it and you're fairly comfortable with it, Wobby doesn't seem like the worst thing. It's kind of funny that some of these with very low volume are making better movement than the ones with extreme volume. So the liquidity is probably already past and things are slowing down a little bit. So, it still counts as a 24-hour volume, but as things get further and further from whenever that massive amount of volume happened, it kind of tapers off. Speaking of tapering off, Ethereum Classic, sometimes it's better on trading than other times. Hey, our TNT's going up. I like TNT. I do. I like trading it. It needs to have a better mix of liquidity coming from that 24-hour volume, or just volume in general. ZIL has had a lot of trading going on. That's a good range. That's a good range from its highs and lows there. So that's impressive. IOTA's having a good day. GXS having a decent day. Watch out for that fall. It's showing signs. Well, it's going to reverse, but just be careful. Just eyeballing the rest of these. You know, it's definitely, things are spreading out to where it's about a 50-50 mix. So that's pretty cool. Dash singles is up, even with its only 20 BTC, 24-hour volume. Okay, these are fairly expected. Nothing that really stands out to me as a huge surprise. Looks like Ethereum's on the rise. Oh, clicked the wrong one. Hey, you dance around enough, you know. So this is pretty impressive. If you're really big on Ethereum, you know, it's kind of coming back from this. It's really tracing Bitcoin, but it's on a downward slope. So when Bitcoin starts to go down, expect Ethereum to go down even quicker. Just be careful there for now. Theta I typically like. It looks like it might be narrowing, and we'll see a breakout pretty soon. Nano is holding in just about the same place as it's been. Doing similar patterns here. And it did over here. This right here is kind of exact, well, really this whole area is exactly what Bitcoin is doing, but it's at a slightly further down angle. It's not going up as much as Bitcoin is going up. Really happy to see Bitcoin is at 3960. So the question on everybody's mind from here is going to be whether it breaks that 4,000 and then, you know, does it bounce and go shooting down? In my opinion, that's one possibility. And the other one being that it breaks through and picks up momentum. It's not going to just sit there and do nothing. It's either going to break through and speed up or lose momentum. It just depends. PO is still going down, so at some point in time, it's going to be a good buy-in place for PO. Feel a little bit bad for you there, but 131, it wasn't able to maintain there. It's been kind of stuck around 131 for a long time. So it peaked at 160 there. And it has been 5 times that in the past. So if you were trading around here, you know, just over the summer, don't feel bad. You know, this looked like a normal thing at that point. In fact, it was low in comparison. So poor Po. Sorry, Edgar Allan. No, I'm not sure exactly what the project is for. So we shall find out. Storm. Irony, because we have a storm here. Just not real super enthusiastic about trading in binary. Need to see something that can move 2 points. Absolutely am fine with the value being, you know, next to a penny. If it can show that it can move the Bitcoins that are passing through it. OST, I've got a pretty good amount invested in it being able to bounce back. You can see that it's not uncommon right now for things to be trading low. It was in the like 200 and 300 BTC 24-hour volume. And it's just right now it's not tracking with Bitcoin. I'm hoping that it doesn't have to go all the way down to where it was before trailing back up again. But you can see that it was pretty easy for it to spike to 634 here, and that was just 9 days ago. But let me show you even more so. It's got a history, you know, this, in order to zoom out, it's kind of lumping days together in here. But you can see that, you know, it's only been since the beginning of the year that it was easily in the 700s. and this was, 725, 950, so 800s before that. And this is this is just where the hard fork happened with Bitcoin crash, and that easily took it from 800 to 600. So it is about recovery for OST, and I care a little bit more about this one than some of the others that are kind of in the same boat. So you can see it's extremely underneath where its volume allows for. That makes me hopeful that it can rebound pretty quickly. It's kind of funny where our highest position is that needs to. We actually already cleared all of ours over here. I say all of ours. I think that I have one position. Yeah, it went to 614, and then it was like, oh, next. Yeah, that's right there. I think it went to 614 and then came down a little bit more. So it looks a little bit worse than it is. I'm just hoping that it doesn't have to continue too much deeper into 500s before bouncing back. If it does, it does. We, mainly have our eyes focused on anything that clears that has been sitting for more than a week. We'll be happy about that. So we just keep pushing forward. ARK is not sitting too pretty right now. I mean, you'll notice that a lot of these are sagging with Bitcoin going up, and it's about finding a happy equilibrium between the two. The faster spikes, going up 200, 300, 400 in a day usually leaves a lot of the alts behind, and then they find a balance. It's not just because people are pulling out of one in order to go into another, and it's not just because new traders are coming in and buying Bitcoin, or signals that new people are coming into the sector are good for people, but it really is just literally the math behind the scenes has a lot to do with that. So I want to look at kind of our typical ones that we have our eyes on right now. DNT, kind of a more steady slope version of this. It is at 39.70 now. Bitcoin is. Looks like it's going for another up, and this may actually be the one. It's 193,949,000. Let me see if the volume is actually going up or if it's still falling, even though there's lots of new positions. 955, 57, 56. Okay, so it's hovering a little bit. That means that a lot of the volume is already dropping off from whenever it happened in the 24-hour period. So I'm looking down the list for any that I missed. Fuel. Like to see it be able to do 215 to 230. Isn't that funny? Look at that, 24 hours. 215 to 229, so I wasn't too far off. And it looks like it is getting ready to be able to do a little bit more activity, but it's a little bit too low. Well, it's interesting. 700 BTC. Maybe we'll get into trading some fuel today. We'll see. Gas. I've enjoyed the range of motion here. So if the volume doesn't shrink too quickly, then that might be good for us for trading today. Go, go, go. It's kind of faltering. It's got movement, but every time it goes up, it falls down further. So be careful. Warning, warning. Not really GTO, not right now. Myth. So it's holding. Oh my goodness, forgive me. So it's been holding in the 950s. Not really thrilled about that. At least it was able to touch on 1,000. We have a few positions at around 1175, and that was a little bit sluggish for some reason. There we go. So you can see that in this climb, in this ascension here, from Christmas to January, and then for some reason, February just got even more severe down there. It was in our... I'm going to zoom in there to make sure that I can see where the... Yeah, 944 was as low as it went. And I don't see signs that it's having to go beneath that in order to recover. So 946, 944. Isn't that interesting? That just seems to kind of be a breaking point. So hopefully it doesn't crash through there. It looks like there's a good chance that Bitcoin is trying to hit 3980, and then what it does from there depends on people's reaction to it. It is, as the day progresses, things tend to slow down a little bit. It's not so much that crypto is an early morning trader kind of thing. People do try to do pumps in the middle of the day, and news comes out at awkward times depending on conferences, and if something happens in the world that makes people scared for some reason, that makes them think that crypto is in danger. People are weird. I am people, though, so I have to throw myself in there somewhere. Not a lot of really big positions there, but I think that it's an interesting project, so I will cover that at some point as its own topic. Phoenix. $231 to $238. My goodness, that is narrow. Isn't that interesting? So it's just proof that you really do need more liquidity in order to make bigger moves. It was doing a lot over here, though. And where's the... Okay, a lot there. You know what? This is interesting. This is a lot of movement in here for not a lot of volumes. That's kind of cool. I would expect something to start picking up with Phoenix. So we have a lot of positions. We're waiting for it to hit the 260s, and then bam. That'll be really nice. Really nice. So next will probably be Raven. Everybody loves Raven. That's going to get old, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Okay, nothing's changed there so much. 274 to 290 at 300 BTC, 24-hour volume. Probably not too concerned with singles with it being that low, but if you choose your positions wisely, you can get in and out of there pretty well. There's about an 11-point spread there. So that's pretty much all you need to get one position in. You got 3 times the movement. Just the math is in your favor. I tend to watch things a little bit too long for it to be that slow. So I just, I don't want to get stuck in anything. We've already cleared out all of our data. So 400 BTC, 24-hour volume, but it is kind of headed at a downward slope. So like 2284 right here, we would need to see it. Really very small change there. Plenty of room, but I don't know how long it's going to keep spiking. So like this would need to go much higher than that. Let's see, 27 to 47. Once again, somebody really knows their margins because things tend to fulfill exactly the range that I'm looking for. Other people are looking for it too. TNT, Dynamite, TNT. You don't win that fight? Okay. 3 to 400, just the most recent stuff. Over the past 24 hours, it's had plenty of room to clear some positions. So we're going to keep watching TNT. Even though it's low on volume, it covers a wide enough range to where I'm interested in it. I haven't been getting a whole lot of movement beyond the past few, but you can see that we've bought and sold our TNT. That's good. It's good. Yes, and Waves. Waves is tracking upwards with Bitcoin. In fact, it looks like it kind of went against Bitcoin's downs. So that's interesting. They kind of both ended up on a high point. But I like Waves for going definitely up to 7,500. Don't know when. It's not a huge margin. This sounds like a big margin, but you need to move about 60, 70. So that's only like 2 or 3 moves that you have room for in there. Wings avoided. It's going away. It's going to fly away. Bye-bye. XVG is up a tiny bit. Yo-yo, very impressive. Don't know if that's, just interest in, let's pick one, or whether it is actually a pump, but I don't think it is. Well, yeah, 400. That's about 10%. Not a big pump if it was a pump. $481, 234. Because of the volume, there might be some interesting things in ZIL. It's not a terrible idea to add it to the list just in case. But I think that's about it for the market right now. Let's take one last look at Bitcoin. And we're down about $1 million on 24-hour volume, but it looks like it's kind of possibly making its way back up. Let's see. I don't think so. I think it was 950 when we were talking. Yeah. So a lot of that volume has already come and gone, but people are pushing to see whether it's going to break 4,000. And if it does, then we'll see even more from there. It's either going to hit a ceiling and bounce down, or it's going to be a signal for things to speed up. So either way, keep your eye on BTC today. Very, very interesting. So that's our Crypto Market Watch Instant Insights for now. We will be back with more stuff and also things. So thank you for watching Archangel Alts. For now, Archangel Alts out.